Okay, namaste, welcome everyone. Wonderful to see you this morning. So let's come on to our mats. So this morning, I had intended to share a Navratri practice with you. Navratri is the 9 nights of the goddess of Durga, Lakshmi, and Saraswati. And it's the spring. So there's 2 festivals of Navratri during the year. One is in autumn and one is in spring. And that was my intention this morning. However, I woke up to some very, we all woke up to some very difficult news this morning. We know that there was a mass shooting in the US on Thursday night. And we found out that 4 of those who were killed in that shooting were South Asian of the Sikh faith. And that is the faith group from which I am descended. And so, very sad and tragic. And this comes after a week when Duante Wright was murdered, when we saw the news about Adam Toledo, the 13-year-old who was shot by the police, and again during the trial of George Floyd. So this is a difficult week for people of color. After what has been a very difficult and long year for all of us. So this morning, my practice instead is going to be one of turning into grief. And I invite us to this practice, and I know it's not a joyful practice. It's not what most people go to yoga for when they join a class. They want to feel yoga feeling good or feeling better or having had some sort of movement. But as you know, when you come to join my yoga classes with me, the practice is a way of delving deeper into our souls, but also to turn the mirror onto ourselves and to observe and bear witness to how we respond to what happens in the world around us. Do we deny and turn away and hide from the harsh truth, however brutal it is, or do we turn to it, identify it, recognize it, label it, name it, confront it, and then challenge it and ask the world to change, ask the systems that create these kind of killings of people of color to come to an end. And so this practice will be challenging, and many of us will drop down into our own grief. But remember that yoga is a pathway to healing. And for me, I know that yoga has helped me for many years of my life in dealing with these traumatizing and stressful emotions, both psychological states of mind, emotional feelings, and daily difficulties, lived realities that we have. And so I'm going to invite us in to protect the heart, to sit with the heart, to bear witness with our heart. It is a natural evolutionary response to drop into the fight flight when we experience stress or trauma or anxiety or grief. And that is the way that our bodies respond and cope to it. So we fly away or we fight the response. What I'm asking us to do is to move beyond that initial evolutionary survival response so that we can begin to work towards a path of collective healing. So our mudra for today, I'm going to ask you to interlace all of your fingers and then bring your index and thumb together in an infinity symbol. So the tip of the index is touching the tip of the thumb of that same hand. And then the other index and thumb are threaded through to create an infinity symbol. This is the Grandhita mudra, the mudra for grief, It's also known as the knot mudra. And I invite you to hold it at your heart space. Let's ground and center. So connect with your seat on the earth. Ground down through all the points of connection between your body and the earth which holds us, the anchor, the foundation for us. And as you inhale, lift up out of your hips, lengthen your spine all the way up to the crown of your head. Soften your face, your brow, your cheeks, your jaw. Soften your shoulders. Soften the heart space. Soften your hands and fingers in mudra here. Either close your eyes or soften your gaze. And begin to observe your breath as it flows. This breath of life. This breath which can be difficult for us to be at ease with in moments of grief, of stress, of trauma. Notice the journey of your breath, all of the places where your breath finds constriction, all of the places where it finds ease of flow. I'm going to invite you to connect with Dirga Pranayam, 3-part yogic breath. Dirga Pranayam, which expands the heart space, giving our lungs more space and room within which to expand. As you inhale, draw the breath through your nose all the way down to the root of your spine. And as you do this, you'll notice that your belly expands, ribs slightly flare, and chest rises, a fullness of breath in. As you exhale, drawing that breath from the root of your spine all the way up to your crown. And as you exhale, you'll notice your navel draws back towards the spine. Ribs gently curl in, chest softly falls. A full breath out. We'll continue like this for 3 cycles of breath. Inhaling fully. Belly, ribs, chest expand and open. Full breath out. Navel, ribs, chest curl and soften. Inhaling fully. Ribs, chest open, expand, full of air, full of breath. And as you exhale, belly, ribs, chest, empty of air, empty of breath. And then let's take a full breath in through our nose, excuse me, and out through open mouth. And make a gentle sighing sound. We're going to open our practice by chanting Om once, Ekamkar once, and then a blessing in your own language, within your own culture. Perhaps Amen. Whatever resonates with you. So 3 calls to the divine. one in Sanskrit, one in Gurumukhi, and one in your own language. Inhale fully to prepare. Inhale for Ekamkar. Ekamkar. Inhale fully. Ekamkar. Once in your own language, I will say Satnam. Satnam. Releasing your hands. Sat Sri Akal. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste and welcome, yogis. Welcome everyone to this morning's practice. So our practice will be focusing on the heart space. We'll also be connecting with the sense of light. So in the Sikh tradition, this is a wisdom tradition from India, in the Sikh tradition, when a life passes from this and transitions or returns to the divine, the rites of the funeral passage and the prayers are called Antam Sanskar. Antam Sanskar, the release of the cycle, the release of the karmic cycle. And we chant mantra or prayers, Shabad prayers. And the one that I particularly want to connect with today is Jot Mili Sang Jot. Jot Mile Sang Jot. Jot Mile Sang Jot. This connects to the light, Jot, of the soul, merging with the light of the infinite divine. Sang Jot. Jot Mile, my light. Sang Jot, the light of the divine, merging in one. So that will be our mantra today. You can repeat that in Gurumukhi, or you can translate that into your own language. My light merges with the divine light. The light of my soul merges with the light of the divine soul. Drop down into your heart space for a moment, your anahat. And visualize here the knot of grief, a ball of thread in any color of your choosing, golden, silver, red, green of nature. And trace all of these threads that weave under and over, in and out. And throughout your practice, as you breathe deeply into the heart space, into the anahat, notice how this ball of knot expands and all the spaces within create space for the rays of light to penetrate, to shine through. And as you exhale, the knots, the tight knots loosen and soften to begin to unravel the grief, pain, trauma, suffering, stress that we may feel. So this is your visualization for your practice today. Releasing your mudra, let's open out our arms. Spiral the little fingers forward so that you turn your palm to face up. Inhale, reach up above your crown. Bring your hands together in Lotus Mudra. Padma, little fingers connected, thumb connected, middle fingers open. Exhale, hands in Anjali to the heart. Tips of fingers, edges of your palm together with a soft gap. Inhale, rise up towards the crown, drawing in the light. Exhale, hands in Anjali to the heart. One more time, expand, reach out through the arms. Reaching up, perhaps you take your gaze above you. Hands in Padma, exhale, Anjali. Jot Mile Sang Jot. Drawing in the light into your heart space. Open up one more time to reach up. And now as you exhale, let's turn over to the right. Right hand comes behind you. Lift your gaze to look over your right shoulder. Left hand on your right knee. Some resistance there. Turn from the torso. Connect with the heart space. Look over your shoulder. Honoring those whose lives have been taken too soon at the hands of systems that separate and disconnect us all. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to look over to the left. Again, look over your left shoulder, right hand on your left knee. Expand the heart space as you gaze over to the left. Let's do twice more in both directions. Flow with your breath. Each in-breath creating light and space in the heart. Each out-breath softening and loosening the heart space, the knots at the heart. Last time. To the left is where we're going to finish. Then back to center. Let's bring the soles of our feet together in Badakanasana, butterfly pose. If you're seated on a block or a folded blanket, you may want to release that and give yourself some space. Soles of the feet together. Knees either with a wide angle or a more narrow angle, yogi's choice. So I wish to create space today. Hands on your shins or ankles. Lengthen your crown. Allow your shoulders to melt down and away from your ears. Perhaps you sense the shoulder blades sliding down the back. Lift the sides of your abdomen. Allow your rib cage to expand and be full. On the exhale, we're going to fold forward. So either reach for your feet or further down your legs and hinge from the hips, reaching tall with your spine, crown reaching forward, gazing down towards the earth. Keeping the neck long for a moment here. And then before we surrender, exhale and allow your neck to soften, the weight of your crown to reach down towards the earth. And here with the heart space enclosed, protecting our heart, turning to protect the heart space. Folding in, drawing in for the moment. Jot mile, sang jot, jot mile, sang jot. One breath here. Inhale, lift your crown. And then again, lengthen through your spine as you inhale to reach up. Allow your hands to slide along your legs. Let's reach long with the left leg. Tuck in the right heel, Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. So you'll see that I use my fingers to turn my heart space over my left leg. Flex the foot. Engage through the length of your leg. So hug in all of the muscles. Connect through the seat bone, especially the right sit bone here. Lengthen. Draw up the sides of the neck rib cage. So you have lots of space here. Draw up your arms. Turn the little fingers back. And as you exhale, hinge and reach forward as far as you can go. And then release your hands either to your feet, your legs, the earth, wherever your hands rest comfortably. And allow your heart space to melt down towards the leg, towards your knee, your crown to reach towards your foot. So we will be in different places here. Some of us may be fairly upright, some of us at an angle, some of us at a more acute angle. We're moving through our grief. Sang our collective grief. Jot mile sang jot. Knowing that the light that is within us, the light of our soul, connects us to the divine light, this light at the source, whatever our belief system is. This light does not exclude. This light welcomes and embraces us all in our humanity. One more breath here in Janushrasana. And then release your hands and walk your hands back towards your body. Lift your gaze and your crown as you do that. Take a moment here. Let's extend the right leg long to meet the left leg long, coming into Tadasana, staff pose. Then flex your feet. Engage through the muscles. So imagine you have a block between your thighs that you're squeezing. Lift up out of your hips. Draw your navel in towards your spine. Lengthen through the sternum. Allow the shoulders to soften, the shoulder blades to slide down. And you can place your hands on the earth either side of you. This is Tadasana. Crown is lifted. So imagine this golden thread, this silver thread, rising up out of the center of your crown. Or you can hold your hands here in Grantita Mudra. Interlacing all your fingers, index and thumbs connected at the point where they interlock, and an infinity symbol. 3 breaths here. So this pose, deceptively simple in appearance, but challenging to sustain, because we are fully engaged here, fully connected in harmony with the earth below us, rising up out of the earth, finding our foundation, grounding in grief, in the release of pain or suffering, reminding ourselves that the earth supports us, that we can root into the earth, anchor into the earth. 1 breath here. Coming into Paschimottanasana, forward fold here. Now 2 options today, yogis. Soft bending your knees, and then you can hinge forward. If you want to come into a more restorative version, which I invite you to do, if you have cushions or a pillow or a bolster handy, you could always place a bolster on your knee, on your legs, or underneath your knees. So placing cushion. So your option today, forward fold with a bolster, pillow, cushion, or a rolled up blanket underneath your knees, or a soft bend in your knees. So I'll do it without the bolster, because for those of you who don't have one available, you can see how it will look. So a soft bend in your knees for the moment. Lengthen again in this Tadasana, return to Tadasana. Inhale to reach up. Little fingers spiral to point back. As you exhale, we're going to hinge from the hips and reach forward as far as we can go. And then release our hands down towards our legs. Now, if you have a bolster underneath your knees will be quite high up. If you don't, remember to keep a soft micro bend in your knees to avoid locking out. Hands resting anywhere on your legs, perhaps you reach for your feet. So heart melting towards the knees, crown reaching towards the feet. Paschimottanasana, a forward fold to the west. Where the sun sets. And another, while you're here in forward fold, remember to keep breathing deeply. Another beautiful Shabad that is recited as part of the Antam Sanskar funeral rites is Suruj Kiran Mile, Suruj Kiran Mile, Suruj Kiran Mile. This is Suruj is the sun, like Surya, Suruj. Just as the sunbeam or ray of light is a part of the sun, so is the soul a part of the divine. So Suraj Kiran Mile, just as the ray of light or sunbeam is part of the sun, so are we a part of the divine. So in this moment of sunset in Paschimottanasana pose, when you're ready, inhale, lift your gaze. Then walk your hands back towards you as you rise up. Take a moment here. If you have a bolster or a pillow or cushion underneath your legs, move that to one side. And let's tuck in the left heel and extend the right leg long this time. And again, use your hands so that you can turn your heart over your right leg. As you exhale, again, grow tall and then hinge forward, reaching for your feet. So your hands will rest wherever they are on your leg. Connect with something solid through your hands. The earth, your leg, your foot, your big toe perhaps. You can wrap your peace finger around it. Heart melting towards the knee, crown reaching towards the foot. So we're starting off quite slow today. We're gently dropping into this ocean of grief. Like a droplet of water. Preparing the body through the process of connection. Guiding the breath of light through this body. The physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the psychological are all interconnected. These are layers of the self. One more breath. And then release your hand, walk your hands back along the mat towards your body or your leg, rising up. Take a moment here. And then let's release that left leg long. And I invite you to windshield wiper the knees one way and then the other. And then let's swing the heels down round to the left hip. And turn over to the right heel. Now, I'm going to give you an option. This is rotational twist. So with your left hand, just bring your right shin parallel to the long edge or the short edge of your mat. It matters not which way you're at. And then that left leg stays folded behind you with the left heel in towards your left hip bone. Lengthen here and then turn over to the right. Place your fingertips on the earth. Again, breathe deeply into your heart space. Lengthen your crown. And we're going to come into a forward fold over to the right here. So walk your hands away from you. And when you get to the point where you feel like this is enough for me, stop there. If you wish to come all the way down to the earth, you may come all the way down to the earth. Again, you have the option of placing a pillow, a cushion, or a bolster here so that you are resting on that. We're not here for long. I'm going to show you how we are. And if you have space, unlike me, some space, extend your arms long. This is a deep twist. Again, take this moment to honor. To know that in order for us to strengthen, to resolve, to build resilience, we must identify the areas in which we are vulnerable And in that vulnerability is where we build our compassion and empathy within from our own vulnerabilities. So turning into the heart helps us to grow our empathy and compassion for others. One breath here. Inhaling, let's rise up gradually. Slide your hands back towards you. Let's counter twist over to the left for a moment. Gaze down towards your feet. And then back to center. And we're going to swap legs over. So bring your feet onto the earth. Knees bent, and then drop the knees over to the left. Come onto your left heel, and then adjust your legs so that your right heel is near your right hip. Your left lower leg is parallel to the long edge of your mat. Then lengthen here. As you exhale, turn over to the left. Breathing deeply here. And again, yogi's choice. How far you come down towards the earth. You can stay fairly upright. You can walk your hands away from you. You come all the way down to the earth if you choose, onto your cushion or blanket. Perhaps you extend your arms long. So for me, the sensation of having my eyebrow center on the earth is something that I'm very comfortable and familiar with, having grown up in prayer by prostrating to the earth. But for some of us, that may be a new or unusual experience. So always cushion the earth. Perhaps you place a folded blanket or a cushion there. Jot mile sang jot, jot mile sang jot. The light of my soul merges with the light of the divine. Inhale, sliding your hands back if you're on the earth, rise up, counter twist over to the right. Gaze down towards the earth. And then back to center, yogis. Take a moment here. Let's come onto all fours. Let's bring the toes together. Take the knees wide. Melt back with your hips and sit bones towards the heels. Reach your hands long here. Come up onto your finger pads. Now your eyebrow center on the earth or on a cushion or a folded blanket here. Create lots of space underneath your armpit. So really stretch out long here in this variation of Balasana, child's pose. Sense how much space you've created for your heart here. So extending along both sides of your abdomen, the rib cage. Lengthen your spine here. Breathe into the earth. Breathe into the heart space, welcoming those shards of light to create space within that ball, that knotted ball of threads. Each exhale softening the knots. One breath here, and then we're going to walk our hands all the way over to the left. And you can take your eyebrow center with you. Again, you may not now be reaching the earth because you have your left knee there. So you feel a lateral stretch here on the right side here. Really connect through the finger pads, the little finger and the index finger. Breathe into that side body. Allow the divine light to fill you. So you'll notice that although this is a grief practice, the invitation of the light lifts this practice from the depths of dark sorrow, but gives us to know that in this sorrow we are held by light. Inhale back to center, and then let's walk our hands all the way over to the right. Take your eyebrow center with you. Again, this will now be lifted. I have less space, but I presume you have much more space where you are on the mat. And again, press down through the finger pads so your palms are cupped here and lifted. Connect through the little finger and the index finger pad. And you'll feel the extension along the left side. One more breath here. Back to center. Come up onto your knees. Hands underneath your shoulders for the moment. Toes are untucked. Let's do 3 rounds of cat-cow, Vitlayasana, Madhyasana, by lifting the tailbone, lifting the heart space and the gaze on the inhale and rounding on the exhale. And as you do your cat-cow cycle, your Madhyasana, Vitlayasana cycle, with your breath, that flow of breath along the spinal column. And I'm going to introduce you to a third prayer. Udak Samund Salalki. Udak Samund Salalki. And this is a poem by Kabir, and the Granth Sahib, the Shri Guru Granth Sahib, the holy book of the Sikhs, is a compilation of many poems by Sufi poets, because Sikhism is founded and has drawn on Hinduism and Islam. It is drawn upon the wisdom traditions, a place of meeting religions and faiths, an inclusive religion, inclusive faith. One breath more, and then as you release the breath, let's come onto our forearms, coming into melting heart, Anahatasana. So your forearms can be a little way forward, or you can really extend the arms. Your tailbone is lifted. Your eyebrow center is connected with the earth or on a cushion, or you have yourself slightly lifted and a less intense bend in your spine, less intense dip in your lumbar spine. And you can always take your arms as wide as the mat. And this will loosen, this will release any tension that you experience in your back. Yogi's choice where you are here. If your arms are extended forward, walk your hands away from you. Slide your shoulder blades down your back. One full breath here. Udak Samun Salalki. We are the drops of water in the ocean, the ripples of a stream. We are inseparable from the divine. We are drops of water in the ocean. Udak Samund Salalki, the ripples of a stream, inseparable from the divine. Take a full breath to rise up from Anahatasana. Tuck your toes. Press through your finger pads of your fingers. Press into the knuckles of the palm. Really connect with the edges, outer edges of your hand, your creases of your wrist lined up forward. Tuck your toes, bend your knees, and then lift your tailbone. Taking your tailbone back, keep a deep bend in your knees for the moment. Notice where the weight is here. Shift the weight into your hips and pelvis and begin to pedal your feet, cycling them, lowering one heel, bending into the opposite knee. Your ears between your biceps. Plug your arms into your shoulders here. Broaden your collarbone. Allow your shoulder blades to move down your back. Lengthen your spine, and perhaps keeping a deep bend here in your knees will help the spine to feel more free. One breath here. Let's come to stillness in Paschimottanasana, mountain pose. And then walk slowly with each breath to the top of your mat. And I really like to cross my legs. Coming into a forward fold, Uttanasana at the top of your mat. A soft or deep bend in your knees here. Either feet parallel, hip distance wide, or big toes touching and heels apart. Fingers on the earth or on blocks. Allow your weight to shift back into your hips and pelvis. Allow your head, neck, and shoulders and arms to soften. One breath here. And now I invite you to bend more deeply into your knees and perhaps take your feet a lot wider, almost as wide as the mat. And then walk your fingertips forward. Now, if you want to use your blocks here underneath your fingertips, use your blocks. Walk your fingers as far forward as they comfortably reach so that your spine feels long here. So you're not quite in a mountain pose, Paschimottanasana. This is a functional forward fold. You can have a bend in your knees here. So really shift the weight into your back body. So the weight is distributed evenly through your feet. Your thighs are engaged. You have a soft bend in your knees. Your hips and pelvis feel heavy. You're very lightly connected through the earth through your finger pads. Jot mile sang jot. Breathing here. And again, you can see we're protecting the heart space, but then we are also working our body here, working the back of our body. One more breath. And then inhale, walk your hands back towards you, coming to halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Hands can be on shins, on the thighs, or fingertips can stay on the earth. Halfway lift here. You might need to heel toe your feet in a little closer. Inhale, bend into your knees, rise up, reach your hands back, up and over, gentle back bend. Exhale, Grantita Mudra to the heart. Come into your Mudra, fingers interlaced, thumb and index connected. Take a moment here. Inhale, bend your knees, reach up, gentle back bend. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway, Ardha Surya Namaskar sequence. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your hands up towards the sky. Exhale, Grantita Mudra to the heart. Twice more, Ardha Surya Namaskar, half sun salutation. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold forward towards the earth. Inhale, halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees to rise up. Hasta Tadasana. Exhale, hands to your heart in Grantita Mudra. Take a moment. Now we're going to move into Surya Namaskar, sun salutations. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhale, halfway. Hands, remember, can always be on your legs when we're halfway. Step back long with the right foot. Bring the right knee directly to the earth. Connect through the feet. Hug the legs in towards each other. Engage here with your foundation on the earth. Then rise up, Grantita Mudra at the heart. Take a moment here, gaze at the horizon. One breath here. Let's begin to reach up with our mudra over our crown. Check what happens with your neck and shoulders here. So if you need more space, you can open your hands wide or bring your hands halfway. So your hands can reach all the way over your crown, or halfway, You can have your hands open, yogi's choice. I want to maintain my mudra today. Tuck in your chin if you're protruding forward with your head. Sink into your hips ever so slightly. One breath here. Release your hands. Take your hands behind your back. Again, interlace them in Grantita Mudra. Draw your hands down. Draw your shoulder blades together. Really drop into that left hip now. Lift your gaze. Open your heart. Draw your shoulder blades together. Chitakasana variation with Grantita Mudra. One breath here. Let's release the hands, bring them to the earth. Lift the right knee, step back long with the left. Bring your knees down to the earth immediately for Ardha Badakanasana or stay in Badakanasana parallel for a moment. Everybody together now. Knees to the earth. Untuck your toes. Bend into your elbows and then lower your chin and chest to the earth. Lift your sit bone. Ashtangasana. Slide your knees away. Hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck in your elbows. Press into your big toes. Imagine you have a block between your feet and then rise up with your crown, your heart. Plug your elbows down in towards your rib. Slide your shoulder blades down and away from your ears. Lots of space here. Bhujangasana. Exhale, lower to the earth. Take a moment here. We're going to come into Shalabhasana. Shalabhasana is Locust Pose. Now, take your hands behind your back and interlace them in Grantita Mudra. Remember here, you can have a blanket or a cushion underneath your eyebrow center. Press into your big toes. Draw your hands down and away from you. If you want to hold onto a strap, you can hold onto a strap here or reach back with your hands. Yogi's choice. So there's lots of places for us to be here. On the inhale, let's lift the right leg up. Lower the right leg. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Lower the left leg. And now you have the option of lifting either one leg at a time and the heart and crown, or both legs and the heart and crown. On the inhale, draw your hands away from you. Lift up with your crown, your heart, your legs, either one at a time or both together. Shalabhasana, Locust Pose. Jot mile sang jot. Imagine this ray of light. Suraj kiran milai. The ray of light. The sunbeam is part of the sun. Exhale, release to the earth, everybody. Bring your hands alongside your head, elbows wide. Soften through the back body. Turn onto your right ear. Perhaps you sway your hips gently from left to right, just for a moment. Let's take a Brahmari breath here, honeybee breath. Brahmari breath is that buzzing breath we make. We inhale through the nose. The lips and teeth are gently parted, so they're almost closed. And we make a humming or buzzing sound out with the out breath. The breath is released through the nose. Brahmari breath, honeybee breath, a deep vibrational breath. And then sense this vibration in the heart space. Take a full breath in. Exhale, Brahmari. Turn onto your left ear. Let's take a Brahmari breath here. Inhale fully through your nose. Exhale, Brahmari. Turn your head back center, press into your hands, lift onto your knees, tuck your toes, rise up in Parvatasana. Take a full breath here. I'm going to step forward with the right foot. So bring your left knee to the earth, step forward with your right foot. And then come up with your hands at the heart in Grantita Mudra. So just gently coming into the right hip here. You could be more upright here. We're going to move into the deeper pose in a moment. Find your gaze on the horizon. Suruj Kiran Mile. Suruj Kiran Mile. The divine light and the light of the individual souls merge just as the ray of light or the sunbeam merges with the sun. These are inseparable. Inhale, hands reach up. So you can have your hands slightly forward, or you can reach all the way above your crown, yogi's choice. Check that your chin is tucked in here so that you don't plug your head forward. Lift from the armpits. Plug your shoulders down into the socket so that you have some space around the neck. Sink into that right hip a little bit more. Anjaneyasana. So whenever we lift our hands above, we call it the Crescent Pose, Anjaneyasana. One more breath here. Release the hands, interlace them behind your back. Draw your hands together. Draw your shoulder blades together. Sink deeper into your right hip. Lift your gaze, lift your heart. Exhale, release your hands. Tuck and step forward with the left toe to meet Inhale, halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. And then let's rise up towards the sky. Gentle back bend, Grantita Mudra to the heart. Take a moment here. So when you have more time in your practice, you can practice that sequence on both sides 2 or 3 times. So usually my practice is an hour and a half when I want to have a full practice. So I invite you to take time to pause and repeat the cycles. Take a moment here. Now fix your gaze on the horizon, on the dristi, something that's not going to move, just so you have balance. Shift the weight. Now come into your Tadasana. So lift your toes and then connect them with the earth. And then press into the mound of the foot at the big toe, then the mound at the little toe, the inside of the heel, outside of the heel. And then distribute the weight through your feet. And you might sway very gently here, backwards and forwards, side to side, to find equal distribution between your feet. Tadasana. Shift the weight now completely into your left leg. Bend into your right knee. And let's step back with the right toes. Find the earth behind you. For a moment, open your hands. Spiral your index fingers, little fingers forward. Inhale, lift that right foot. Paschimottanasana, angel pose. Draw your shoulder blades together. So you're keeping fairly upright here. We're not going into warrior 3 variation. We're doing a Paschimottanasana, angel pose. Now find the earth with your right foot again. Come onto the hip, hold that foot. Left leg is still reaching forward. Now we're going to move into pyramid pose. So for pyramid pose, just have a check of how your feet are aligned up here. You can take your feet slightly wider on the mat. So you give yourself a broad pyramid. Or you can have a slightly narrower pyramid. Now bring your hands into Grantita Mudra at the heart center. So both sets of toes are facing forward. You'll have a slight angle on that rear leg. because especially if you're kind of scissoring here, have a soft bend in that left knee here. Lengthen through the crown. As you exhale, hinge from the hips, push the weight back towards that back leg for the moment. Push the weight into the hips and pelvis. Reach the crown forward, the heart forward, so that you're parallel to the earth. Granthita Mudra here. Now check what's happening with this left knee. If you're locking it out, if you are, soften that knee. Purvottanasana, Purvottanasana, pyramid pose. One breath here. Inhale, press through your feet. Engage your core, rise up. Keep rising, take your gaze overhead. Gentle back bend here. Hands at the heart. Now your option here, keep the hands at the heart or begin to lift them up. And I quite like this variation with the elbows bent. This very warrior-like posture. Sikhs are known to be the warriors of India. You can reach overhead. Yogi's choice. See what feels comfortable for you. So remember, there will be compression in the back, lower back here. So if you stay more upright, there will be less compression. And what you might want to try and do is lift up with your rib cage, draw your shoulder blades together, and that maintains the space and length in the lower back. One breath more, and now we're going to move forward, come onto the ball of your right foot, bend into your left knee, and then lift that right leg. So remember, you can always keep your toes on the earth, hands reaching forward, right foot reaching back. That right foot can be anywhere. You can hold onto a wall with your hands. So remember, I have this door frame here that can often help me. And if you do that, then just place your hand on the heart while you use the other hand to balance you. Or you can bring your Granthita Mudra to the heart. One more breath here. And if you fall out, come back in. Find a point on the earth that's not going to move. Let's all bend into that right foot. Bring that right foot next to the left foot. Inhale, rise up to standing. Bring your hands into the heart of Granthita Mudra. Let's do this on the other side before we finish up our practice today. Jot mile sang jot. Suraj kiran mile. Udak suman salal ki. This idea that we are the drops in the ocean of the divine soul, our sun rays, beams of light of the sun itself. Take a moment here. So let's open out our hands, step back with that left foot after grounding yourself here. And then if you're ready, you can always lift that left foot off the earth. Right. Focus on something ahead of you that's not going to move. Fingers are open here. You might spiral the little index finger, the little finger forward and the index finger back. Appropriation angel pose. All the fallen angels. Honoring each of the fallen angels. All these past week alone. One breath here. And now we're going to come into pyramid pose. So find the earth behind you. And adjust your feet so you come into your variation of pyramid here. Right leg forward. Unlock that right knee. Heart point facing forward. Hands at your heart. Take a moment here. As you exhale, hinge from the hips, pushing your weight back. Crown reaching forward. Halfway. Ardha Purvottanasana. Purvottanasana. Take a moment here and then press through the feet, grounding down. Engage your core. Bring your navel to the spine and then lift your gaze up towards the sky. Lift your Grantita Mudra. Perhaps you go all the way overhead. Keep lifting out of that lower back. Keep lifting the sides there so that you don't. So you create lots of length. And when we exhale, now bend into that right knee. Come onto the ball or the toes of the left foot, coming into your variation of Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. And if you fall, refind your balance, your focus. Bend into your left knee, bring that left foot, bring your hands into the heart, rise up in standing mountain, turn to face me. Take a moment here, and then let's come down to the earth. Bring your knees to the earth. Bring your eyebrows center to the earth, and take your hands behind your neck. Interlace your fingers in Grantita Mudra, so child's pose with Grantita Mudra. Let's connect with our breath. So we're returning back to the earth, grounding back, knowing that we are safe. Inhale, release your Grantita Mudra, rise up, come into your Sukhasana, and take a moment here. Let's close our practice by connecting with our breath, honoring those who have fallen too soon. Antam Samskar, Antam Samskar, our prayers to them. Jot mila sang jot, jot mile sang jot, jot mile sang jot. Suraj kiran mile, Suraj kiran mile, Suraj kiran mile. Udak saman salal ki, Udak saman salal ki, Udak saman salal ki. Inhale, closing with Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Inhaling to prepare. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hands to your eyebrow center. Dhanyavad, dhanyavad, dhanyavad. Thank you, yogis, for joining me. You may be wondering why I'm wearing white today, because it is traditional to wear white when one is grieving in the Sikh tradition. So, and it draws in the light and represents the light. So thank you everyone for joining me. I hope this practice has been part of the healing. So I'm